Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Work. There you go.
Forward.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work.
Fall in.
Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good with y'all this morning? It's me, your boy Trey, and y'all know what it is. E2G Sports Network presents First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So come on and fall in with your boy as we get to talking about what's been happening in the world of sports and just the world sometimes in general over the last 24, 48, 72, hours. What's good with y'all? What's going on? I hope y'all enjoying y'all week so far. It's been nothing but peaches and roses and all those type of things for the most part. Those people in or around the Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana area and going forth, I hope y'all were able to endure the storm. My peeps out in Texas, endure the rain. And so you can't stop the rain when it starts to fall. What's good? So getting into it this morning, first and foremost, of course, shout out to Scott Rowland. You know you a bad man when you're only one of many to be afforded the opportunity to walk into the Hall of Fame as he gained the necessary amount of votes. Percentage, correction, not just votes, percentage of votes to get into the Hall of Fame, MLB Hall of Fame. Especially when you just look at in 2021, there wasn't a single person casted, whether it was through the writers or whether it was through the legacy, or different the era. No one got in. Last year, only David Ortiz was voted by the Writers Association. So here we are a year later, and Scott Rowland collects the necessary percentage of votes. Of course, it has to be over 75%, in which he gained 76%, 76.3 to be exact, in which honestly he got in by the skin of his teeth, as it was about 4 or 5 votes in which got him over that threshold. Just behind him, just narrowly missing it, Todd Helton, earning 72%, in which you can almost as one could ascertain that he is most likely able to get in next year. Going forward, first year, Andrew Jones earned 58%. He might have a good chance of getting in next year. If not, so of course, throughout the course, you only get 10 years after your 5-year hiatus after retirement. You get 10 years to get in the ballot, written in by the Baseball Writers Association. And if not, then you go into a different pool in which you have to you're put into an error point in which, of course, you still have to you have to be voted in. But of course, that's a large pool when it comes down to it, and the same things applies. 136 ballots were cast throughout the Writers Association, and an average ballot of 5.86 names were down last year from 7. So you see there's a really changing the tide, with 13% of those users using 10%, using 10 slots or all 10 slots on their ballot, which is needed for election. It's hard out there. Of course, you still have names like Alec Rodriguez and Manny Ramirez, people who were named or supposedly alleged to have utilized PEDs during their time. So they're on the ballot. Alex Rodriguez 35%, Manny Rodriguez 33%. So they're getting close though. They've been in the ballot for a while, so it remains to be seen how are they going to be voted in their coming years, while still able to be voted in by the writers for the most part. So, but again, Scott Rowland, congratulations, brother, on your vote to Cooperstown. Uh, Obviously, for baseball, it is a huge and hard situation. Just not, I'm not saying that anywhere else just puts people in, but of course, in baseball, it's not for the faint of heart. Going into the NBA, of course, which is going to get a lot more attention, especially from us as we get ready to transition from football. As we know, we only have a couple of weeks left waiting sitting in football. Four teams remain. Come this time next month, football will be over. We'll be talking about basketball, college, maybe XFL, and the USFL. But right now, at this particular moment in time, we're going to get into the National Basketball Association. Oh, shout out to man, Coach Wayne Walcott for putting out the military basketball street ranking. My man is wild. Sparking some conversation, controversies. Maybe we're going to have to talk about that one day. I got to see how to bring that, because maybe people don't want to come to the table in reference to it. But in any case, wow. Check it out. So let's get to it. Of course, what was the last night's 7 games slated in the NBA, in which first and foremost the Chicago Bulls were hosted by what's good, Freddie? What's going on, fam? Glad to see you in formation this morning. Rocking with you, brother. What's going on, man? First and foremost, the Indiana Pacers were hosted the Chicago Bulls last night. Chicago Bulls with the opportunity to go ahead and pull up for what could have been a continued streak. Missed the opportunity. DeMar DeRozan, 33 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists from Nikola Vucevic, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists from Zach LaVine. Their big three. Derek Jones contributed with 10 points, 5 rebounds. 7 points apiece from Patrick Williams, Damonsu, as well as Andre Drummond, 10 and 8 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists from Kobe White. For the Pacers, who got the W by 6 points, winning 116 to 110. They were led by TJ McCollum's 20 points, 3 rebounds, 10 assists, 26 points apiece from Miles Turner, as well as Bennett Mathurin, 7 points, 2 rebounds from Mathurin. Miles, 7 rebounds, 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists from Chris Duarte, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists from Buddy Hield. Like I said, in what was a victory for the Pacers, improving to 24 and 25 on the year. The Bulls dropped to 22 and 25. Still pretty close, as we talked about yesterday, that for the most part in both conferences, 5 through 13 is separated by 2 to 3 games. That doesn't, in my opinion, give anyone any pause. For the most part, you can be walked down in any way, form, or fashion. If you blink, you look up, you lose a couple of games, someone wins a couple of games, and you went from being a 5th seed to a 9th seed. But that, you know what that means. If you win, you take care of business on your end, you have nothing to worry about on the other. Another game tapped in last night. The New York Knicks hosted the Cleveland Cavaliers, which wasn't the best of things when you look at it. Donovan Mitchell just coming back off a growing injury in which he, for the most part, experienced some setbacks during the game, especially in the waning moments in which he was needed the most. Cavaliers, led by Donovan Mitchell and Jarrett Allen's 24 points apiece. Jarrett Allen, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 1 assist. Donovan Mitchell, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Darius Garland, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. 12 points for Evan Mobley. 9 points from Isaac Oroku, 6 rebounds to 5 6 to go along with that. Karis LeVert contributed with 9 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 points, 2 assists from Ricky Rubio, 1 assist from Kevin Love, and it was just unfortunate for Donovan Mitchell. He talked about how he kind of felt uh, his groin in the waiting moments. He got blocked not once but twice in the during the time frame in which the second time he had to kick out to even Mobley after getting his rebound after a block to try to savor the game after going up for uh what could have been a game winning layup. Isaiah Harrison got the block. What's good, Stanton? What's going on, Frank? Good morning, sir. Glad to have you in formation. What's good with you this morning, brother? Julius Randle led all teams, 36 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist from RJ Barrett, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 10 points, from Jalen Brunson. I'm sorry, Jericho Sims, 2 points, 4 rebounds, and assistance. Emmanuel Quickly, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 10 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists from Quentin Grimes, 11 points, 3 rebounds, Obi Toppin. Miles McBride contribute with 3 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists. Harrison, 4 points, 4 assists, 9 rebounds in the winning effort as they just skate past the Cavaliers on the score of 105 to 109 with the dub that puts New York at a 26 and 23 record, just 3 games above 500. Cleveland Cavaliers Colson's easily currently 29 and 20, but like I said, expectations to have Donovan Mitchell out a couple of more games as he currently was just out 3 games, and now he's at the particular point where he's going to probably be out a little longer with that groin injury. Frustrations, of course, set in as he sat on the ground. He even said that even though he felt like a pull in his groin, not add insult to injury, legs cramping. So he was really done out there. So we remain to see what is going to be the report for Donovan Mitchell. Currently, Cavaliers in a good spot. They just need to keep that intensity and possibly get back to where they need to be. Other game last night, the Boston Celtics, the Eastern Conference. Let me put respect on their name. The Eastern Conference winning, Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics were hosted by the Miami Heat, in which Miami is like, we're not for this, getting the 98 to 95 W over the aforementioned Eastern Conference leading Boston Celtics. With the win, the Heat moved to 27 and 22. Boston drops 35 and 14. Superman starting to let the kryptonite creep in. Basically being chased down, of course, in a losing effort. Jason Tatum, 31 points, 14 rebounds, and 7 assists. Not bad at all. Derek White contributed 23 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists on the night. 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist for Grant Williams. Robert Williams III, 11 points, 8 rebounds. Peyton Pritchard, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists for the easy stats. 3 points, 5 rebounds for Justin Jackson. 7 points for Luke Cornett. Blake Griffin contributed with 1 assist. And Sam Hauser, 3 rebounds and 2 assists on the night. Of course, you don't hear the name Jaylen Brown as he did not play last night, which could have amounted to why they were beaten. On the other side of the spectrum, Bam Adebayo, 30 points, 15 rebounds, 1 assist. Haywood Highsmith, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. 12.6 rebounds, 1 assist from Victor Oladipo, 13.7 rebounds, and an assist from Max Strus. 5 rebounds, 5 points, Caleb Martin. Tyler Hero contributed with 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists. And Kyle Lowry, 2 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists on the night, in which it wasn't the most welcoming, but of course, it's plenty of basketball still to be played. Boston's out, had their track shoes on early. Let's see if they can keep that pace, or they're going to have to watch them slowly but surely slide back into the middle of the pack. Maybe only to reemerge. Like you said, continue to say, just a couple of games left before the All-Star break, which the teams get a chance to reset, rewind, and come back. In other games last night, the Denver Nuggets, hosted by the New Orleans Pelicans in New Orleans, in which after being assessed, it was revealed that Zion Williamson is expected to be out at least another 2 weeks with his groin injury. While the team tries to keep their head above water, keep up in the top tier of the Western Conference. Uh, in a losing effort, however, losing last night 99-98 on the home floor, led by CJ McCullough's 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 17 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists from Jose Alvarado, 14 points, 9 rebounds from Jonas Valanciunas, 10.6 rebounds and 1 assist from Trey Murphy III. Willie Herman Gomez, 12.6 rebounds, 2 assists, 10 points, 6 rebounds from Larry Nance. Herb Jones, 6.6 rebounds, 1 assist. But it just wasn't enough for the Denver Nuggets opened up the doors and welcome back Nikola Jokic after his brief layoff. He comes back with a vengeance, dropping a triple-double, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists as he returns to the team from injury. Jamal Murray, 25 points, 1 rebound, 7 assists. On his night, 11 points apiece from Bruce Bowen Jr. and Aaron Gordon. Gordon, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Brown, 2 rebounds. And then three players with 7 points assists: Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Christian Braun, and Jeff Green. The latter also contributing 2 rebounds and 1 assist apiece. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 2 rebounds, 4 assists on the night, as the Denver Nuggets, the Western Conference leading squad, improved to 34-13 on the year, 20 games above 500. That's great. And the New Orleans Pelicans 26-22 on the year with the loss. So Zion needs to hurry up and get back. Maybe ignite them. Probably ideally 2 weeks is probably ideal, not to even have him come back to the All-Star break. He is considered one of the. I think he's going to make the All-Star team this year. So if he's able to play, they should be there. Excuse me, but more on the All-Star team in the second. 3 games from last night left. The Washington Wizards, hosted by the Dallas Mavericks, another high-scoring affair, as the Mavericks are just edged out, losing 126-127 to the Washington Wizards. The Wizards, led by Kyle Kuzma's 30 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, contributions, of course, from all around. Not too shabby, in my opinion. Brady Beal, 22 points, 4 assists, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists from Deni Avdija. Daylon Wright contributed with 10 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. Monte Morris, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. 9.7 rebounds, 3 assists from Daniel Gafford. Corey Kispert, 14.7 rebounds, 1 assist. 8 points from Will Barton. Anthony Gill with 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist on the night. For the Mavericks, Luka Doncic led the squad, 41 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist from Dwight Powell. 20 points, 1 rebound, 8 assists for Spencer Dinwiddie, who continues to contribute. 16 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist from Josh Green. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Dorian Finney-Smith. Tim Hardaway Jr. with 5 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. 3 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists from Reggie Bullock. And Davis Bertans, 7 points, 1 rebound. As it's starting to show, the missing Maxi Kleber as well as Christian Wood is taking its toll on who at one point was a hot streaking Dallas Mavericks team. Now with the loss, they dropped just 1 game above 500 to 25-24 on the year. The Washington Wizards 21-26 with their win. But again, like I said, at this point, anybody's game in the respective conferences. The Hornets were hosted by the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix, Arizona yesterday. The Hornets led once again by Terry Rozier's 19 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists from center Mason Plumlee. Jalen McDaniels contributed 15 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. 7 points from Theo Madeline, Dennis Smith Jr., 8 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Bryce McGowan's 5 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. PJ Washington, 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. And JT Thor with 5 points on the night for the Suns, of course, led by Cameron Johnson's 24 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 18 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists from Mikal Bridges. Chris Paul contributed with 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists, double-double on the night. Dario Saric, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 15 points from Jock Landale. Damian Lee, 11 points. Josh Okogie, 9.7 rebounds, 2 assists. Not a bad stat line. Torrey Craig, although he did not contribute in the points column, 9 rebounds were, I'm very sure it was very handily appreciated. 6 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists for Bizback Biyombo. As the Phoenix Suns get the W, a whopping 31-point dub, winning 128-97. With that win, Suns keep their head above water, go to 25-24 on the year, just one game above 500. Is a defeat? We don't know. The Charlotte Hornets dropped to 13-36 with the loss and continue as it gets closer and closer and closer. We inch towards a all-star break. And last but not least, of course, we saved the best for last. For whatever reason, I do not get. Could it be because Anthony Davis is not here? Actually, Anthony Davis is due to be back this week, expected to play versus the San Antonio Spurs tonight in LA. So hopefully that starts us back on a winning streak. But for whatever reason, we are not able to beat the Clippers. The Clippers seem to have the Lakers number for whatever reason and dial it and control the tempo and control the game all together. Now, I don't know. Of course, after LeBron scored his 40 points against the Memphis Grizzlies, it was only one team remained in which he did not have a 40-point or more game against. And that one team was, of course, the Los Angeles Clippers. So it took 20 years for LeBron to enact a 40-point or more game versus the Los Angeles Clippers, in which LeBron dropped 46 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists versus the Clippers last night, putting him 178 points within the all-time leading scorer record, which he's expected to break sometime in early to mid February, pending even injury or just a explosion in points, or unless he becomes the leading scorer and drops 178 against the Spurs tonight. I don't know. I guess stranger things have happened. Of course, if that happens, we know he's going to be tested the next day. Russell Westbrook contributes 17 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists on the night, 15.7 rebounds from Thomas Bryant. But that's where it stops. 7 points from Tony Brown Jr., 3 points from Patrick Beverly, 7 points from Dennis Schroeder, 8 points from Wayne Gabriel, Juan Toscano Anderson, 4 points, Scottie Pippen Jr., 3 points. It just wasn't enough. It just doesn't add up. What's good, Kaneek? What's going on? Good. Glad to see you, Formation Sis. Hope your morning's going good. Your week going even greater. He did have a great game, but it just wasn't enough, unfortunately. Them damn Clippers. And then the disrespect. People is like, it's the Clippers town now. Like, stop playing. Clippers are about to move to Inglewood. So all subsidiaries of Los Angeles, but it's not the Clippers town. They got their number right now. Why? I don't know, but that's what it is. Is what it is. For the Clippers, held down by their tandem of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. George, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists on the night. 25 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists for Kawhi Leonard. Norman Powell contributed 22 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists for Terrence Mann. Reggie Jackson, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Robert Covington, 8 points on the night. Nicholas Batum, 4.6 rebounds, 6 assists for him. Marcus Morris Sr., 5 rebounds, 5 points, 1 rebound. Ivica Zubac, 6 points, 8 rebounds. If you listen to the sound of my voice, 6.5 players in double figures compared to 3 on the other side. Even if those 3 is 40 points, it just isn't enough. As the Clippers get a 18-point drubbing to the hometown rivals, winning by the score of 133 to 115. After the game, LeBron was talked about the accolades and everything in which he's accomplished and what is like being the age of 38 and consistently scoring and having the ability to score 40 points a night. The fact that he finally eclipsed and becoming the 4th player, I think, in history or something like that to score 40 points or more against every franchise. That's 30 franchises. Correct. Yes, 30 franchises because he's played against each one of those franchises. So that afforded him the opportunity to have every franchise on his squad because he's played for 3 organizations. And basically he said that it's hard to get behind because you're completing these accolades and earning these accolades, but it's all in a losing effort. Hopefully, with it being 3 years, going on 4 years since they won a championship in Los Angeles, the hope and the expectation is that maybe they can get back to winning ways. They just, of course, at the day right before trade deadline, which is actually going to be completed. The trade deadline ends on February the 9th, in which LeBron and company hope to make more deals from what not LeBron. I'm so sorry. Pelinka, Rob Pelinka hopes to make more deals. I know something that came up as I was looking over to see where those deals to be coming at. Who's coming up currently? Cam Reddish from the New York Knicks is being talked about, but at what point were the Knicks traded to get him from Atlanta? They traded a 1st-round draft pick in which they said they had like the same compensation for him, but they have to be really out there nine when you take in consideration Cam Reddish isn't even in their current rotation. And how do you expect to get a 1st-round pick for someone in which you spent the 1st-round pick for? That's absurd. You think you're gonna get the same thing back? You better take this player or this 2nd-round pick, a latter 2nd-round pick, because as you know, the Lakers just gave it 3 1st-round pick, 2nd-round picks to get Raul Hachimura, who is the first player of Asian correction. I think first Japanese player to play for the Lakers, because if you think the first player of Asian descent to play for the Lakers was Jeremy Lin. So, we got to see. You see where it goes. What else we got? Memphis Grizzlies look to welcome back Danny Green. It's coming, Shay. I mean, Bishop ain't showed up yet. I mean, he better pull up soon because I have an appointment I had to go to. So I'm gonna be cutting out here soon. So you know what, Kenneth? I didn't even see the Go Kawhi comment, sis. Why you treat me so bad? But yeah, Shay, it may go down. It might go. If not, I'm going to have to save it for tomorrow as we get closer and closer to the weekend. I'm locked and loaded. We should see you, of course. But appreciate you popping in, Shay. Thank you, guys. It's, you know what? It's more to come because like I said, I told Bishop I'm going to be sending him the rest of the for the next couple of weeks. When it comes down to it, I try to reserve. I don't try to get into that. I try to be calm, cool, and collective. That's my demeanor. I'm not a person that gets all into the emotions. but I try to be the individual that talks facts and speaks that Shay. So if that was something, just wait till Friday. Like I said, I'm going to empty the clip like them dudes that be in these chicks DMs and stuff like that. I'm emptying the clip, shooting every shot. I'm going straight Allen Iverson. I ain't gonna see. It's not a single shot in which I'm not gonna see. I can't take. But appreciate you tuning in, Shay. So, like I said, Danny Green is planning to make his 22-23 debut come February 1st. As you know, Danny Green's been out with ACL and a LCL injury since last year when he played with the Philadelphia 76ers, in which he ended up being traded on draft day. He ended up being traded, and basically Memphis has allowed him to rehab and has been waiting for him. So now he's ready to make his debut, in which the expectation is that Danny Green is going to provide a winning mentality. As we know, he is the 3-time champion, winning 2 with San Antonio. Actually, is he 3 or more? He won 2 with or he won with the San Antonio Spurs, the Toronto. Actually, he's won 3. He's won with the San Antonio Spurs, the Toronto Raptors, and the Los Angeles Lakers. In which he's a champion, I guess you could say, in state, being very productive on those teams, as well as they expecting him to be a defender and basically a 3-and-D on the perimeter. Now, is that going to be the same dude? Look what happened to Clay. It was Clay the same person? So it remains to be seen, of course. It's all right. We all can't be great. I understand, Kanief. I got you, sis. I digress. I appreciate it though. Go Lakers. Matter of fact, we play tonight. See what you did, Kanief? That's why I can't wait till tomorrow now. Of course, if they don't win tonight, then I'm not gonna show up tomorrow. But yeah, so Danny Green hopes to get back in top form so he can contribute something to a team second in the East, in the West currently. So that might be not be it. Maybe he's in a good position. In my opinion, Danny Green is like a good luck charm. Like my man pulls up to teams and teams win championships. So let's see if he continues to provide that type of energy as he gets ready to most likely suit up for the Memphis Grizzlies. Well, he's going to suit up in starting February. He should be in, getting some playing time. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, like as aforementioned, Anthony Davis is expected to be in the lineup tonight against the Spurs. Not expected to get no more than 24 to 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes, as they're going to keep him on a minutes restriction. Of course, they want to bring him back nice and slow, as he had a bone fracture in his right foot, in which the expectation was for him to be out 8 to 10 weeks. From what they said, due to how his body is responding and the treatments in which he's been getting, the 5.5 weeks is where they're at, and so they're going to ease him back in as best possible. So, of course, and every fiber of it, you want to do that, but is it too early? Is it too soon? We know how it goes with Anthony Davis, so I don't know if that's exactly a move in which we want to make to bring him back about 3 weeks earlier than the minimum time frame in which they expected him to be out. It sounds like the same thing which they was talking about with Danny Green, that he came back earlier than expected. Basically, how his body has responded to it and what he's doing. So, I mean, I look at it, y'all brothers getting paid at this point anyway. So, take the time to heal to come back. Don't come back too early. I'm very sure the pressures mount. People hit up and be like, "Hey, checking on you and seeing and watching." So, it remains to be seen. Who else? Of course, other injuries across the league. The Grizzlies, Steven Adams is likely to be out 3 to 5 weeks, as he has a knee injury in which he sustained. We'll see how that affects the Grizzlies with their man in the middle not being there now. Maybe they have to move over Jaren Jackson Jr. and bring off some help off the bench. Maybe they call up Kenny Lofton Jr., who was pretty effective in the preseason in the league. So maybe Lofton gets an opportunity to get called up to come and do some work in the NBA. So we'll see how that goes. So real quick, right? I'm glad. I'm upset. I'm not upset. It's unfortunate that we don't have more people that's currently engaged to have this conversation. So yesterday, this is two part. Yesterday, the McDonald's All American team was revealed, in which, interestingly enough, 6'3" point guard / shooting guard Bronny James was found to be a selection for the McDonald's All-Star game. We'll miss names like Mikey Williams, but Bronny James was on that list. This comes a couple of days after LeBron James himself, the king, had stated that his son can go to any school in which they want. All he needs to do is pick up a phone. Currently, Bronny James has dwindled a list down from what his reports is to 3 schools currently. Those 3 schools being 2 Pac-12 teams and 1 Big 10 school. Of course, his dad's home, Ohio State, is in a recruiting picture. And then the 2 Pac-12 teams being University of Oregon, and of course the University of Southern California. So it remains to see which team would that be, unless him and his father have a discussion and then decide to go another route. Of course, other routes can conclude him going to the NBL, which the NBL owner, that's the National Basketball League in Australia, has talked about potentially him going to potentially coming to play there for a year. Additionally, of course, he can take a year off out of high school and go play for the G League Ignite to kind of like get an understanding and work out against players that aren't NBA, some NBA players, former NBA players, or players who have been called up, and see how that goes. But he can play for G League Ignite. He can take a year off. He can go play in or overseas, as opposed to go to college. But yeah, back to it. Is Bronny a McDonald's All American, or is his name affording him the opportunity to be hailed as a McDonald's All American? That remains to be. I was just wondering, asking that question. From they saying that the conversation is that Bronny is a great two-way player, which mainly his bounce and his dominance. I ain't gonna say dominance. His affinity to be a lockdown player, defensive player, is what's giving him that inside. That's what's pushing him. That's what's driving the force and saying that he is good because of the two-way. So the fact that he can go and score, but additionally also can defend, is the driving force. What say ye? Of course, to it, I see the standings saying, that's a good question. I just wonder. Not anything against him. Like, he's out there doing exactly trying to live in his father's, hopefully not in his father's footsteps. Of course, they play at 2 different positions. In a sense, his father played 1 through 5. Obviously, Bronny right now 1 and 2. 6'3", unless he has a growth spurt, then of course he may move up to where he could be. I don't know. Because I want to say, when you look at the field, throughout that field, there's a bunch of shooting guards, point guard, shooting guard, combo guard types. Excuse me. There's a bunch of shooting guard combo types, and they're the tallest point guard in which you've seen in that field was a 6'6" point guard. And then of course that was a 6'6" point guard shooting guard combo, and then you had a 6'10" shooting guard small forward combo. So if they're considered a guard in the aspect of being in school, they are out there. There's a few of them out there, and in which he's up against Collier, which is another player that'll go to USC. So Bronny, we had to share time and split time with him. So it just is it's just a matter of where he's going or what he's going to plan to do. Is he going to go cross country? Is he going to go up the coast from living in California and go to school in Oregon? It remains to be seen. Continuing on, of course, at least one more topic in the NBA. When you look at it, y'all know it's going down. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull a date up that'll be proficient of knowing the information that I know now. So, if you've been tuning in and paying attention, amidst myself and Bishop going back and forth about the 49ers being a better NFL product than his Philadelphia Eagles, in which we get to see starting at 1400, that's 2 o'clock Central Standard Time this Sunday. We also have had a discussion on who can put together a better team of all stars when the all-star are announced. So it's already, the ballot should be in already as far as the starters, as the ballots were supposed to be in this past Saturday, in which the top 10 players, 5 from the East, 5 from the West, are going to presume to be starters, which means they get first selections during the All-Star game, during the All-Star picking session, and then the other 7 players are going to be picked up by whom is going to be the head coach. So currently, when you look at it, previous years, always the leading team in the East and the West are the head coach, are dubbed the head coaches for the All-Star game. In this particular instance, that would be the head coach for the for the Denver Nuggets, and the head coach for the Boston Celtics. So you're getting pretty close to that, but for it to be announced. And then from there, those coaches and the staff in which they select or they selected, they pick the start. I mean, they tend to get together with the league, and they put together the rosters, the last 7 players for each team. All right. So we have that. Now, what's going on is myself and Bishop, once those 2 entities and factions have been put together where we know who the starters are, starting player pool, as well as the reserve player pool, we're going to put those pools, we're going to pool those pools together, and that's 24 men, and we're going to select what we believe to be the best team that we can put together. I don't know Bishop's strategy yet. In my opinion, that he's going to go with top players and try to do that, and he's really not going to have any strategy. That's just my opinion, but it remains to be seen. But the NBA has put a twist into it for that. So soon we should be getting who the starters are going to be coming out soon in the coming week or so. By the 2nd of February, the NBA will announce who the reserves are. So by the 2nd of February, which is Thursday, the NBA will know who the reserves are and who the starters are, and that pool of players will be put together. By then, it should be clarified whether it should be LeBron James for the West, and it should be clarified whether it be Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks as the team captain, or Kevin Durant from the Brooklyn Nets as the team captain for the East. Just to be keep in perspective, LeBron James, they have done this. This will be the sixth time in which they've used the format of picking teams for the All-Star break. And the previous five times, correction, it has been six times. I think Steph Curry was the picker one time. The last five times has been LeBron James, and currently LeBron James is 5-0 in his teams when he was the team captain. So it remains to be seen how that is going to go going forth. Or stand corrected, it might have been something, but in case he's definitely 5-0. So what's going to happen is on the night of the All-Star game, which is February the 19th, there's going to be a live broadcast pregame to where all players and coaches are not going to know who their team is until that night, because just hours before the game is when LeBron and whomever the East captain will be, that is going to be when they're going to pick their team. So myself and Bishop would already have picked our team, and we'll be ahead. So it adds something to it. We'll see how well we pick compared to that of the those IQs in which they're going with when they start to pick. But definitely a situation to where it's going to be interesting as LeBron James and well, you know what? Hold up. Where LeBron James and his and company decide get in there and start selecting their squad, in which it would be revealed who the teams will be. So definitely a difference. The NBAPA decided on this and announced it yesterday. So definitely added a little mix. I'm excited for it, looking forward to it. I might even check it out to see what the selection is. So that's up next, of course, to see them go at it to do their picking the night before. But just as I can pick a squad, you don't know who you walk into the gym, you don't know who you're gonna be with, and now there you walk in and bam, there you have it. Hey, this is squad. This is who you're running with. So definitely looking forward to seeing that. Continue on with the games, of course. You got games tonight, 10 games to be exact. Um, Starting off with the Orlando Magic coming off their win the other night versus the Boston Celtics, hosting the Indiana Pacers. So they'll do battle tonight. The Philadelphia 76ers hosting the Brooklyn Nets. We should see a Ben Simmons in action. Unfortunately, he'll be without running mate KD, but him and Kyrie should be able to handle business as they face off against the 76ers. James Harden, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and company. So that should be a good one. Additionally, the Houston Rockets coming off their win, a 40-point effort from Jalen Green just the night before last. They host the Washington Wizards in Houston. The Oklahoma City Thunder will be hosting the Atlanta Hawks. Milwaukee Bucks. So it's 2 versus 1 as the Eastern Conference number 2 team takes on the Western Conference number 1 team in Milwaukee as the Bucks go and do battle. I guess it's a lot better to have Nikola Jokic back to go up against Giannis Antetokounmpo. That would be the the current reigning MVP versus the former 2-time reigning MVP, to put up a show to see maybe if one of them are the 3-time reigning MVP. The New Orleans Pelicans face off against the Timberwolves in New Orleans tonight. The Golden State Warriors will be hosting the Memphis Grizzlies. The Sacramento Kings coming off a win the other night versus the Grizzlies. Will be hosting the Toronto Raptors. The Portland Trailblazers are coming off their win to host the Utah Jazz. And lastly, after being beat by 18 points last night, the Los Angeles Lakers will host the San Antonio Spurs on the Crypto.com arena floor. Back to the Grizzlies Warriors. The Grizzlies are currently on a 3-game losing streak versus West Coast teams. It started with the Lakers, and now they're going to have a game. They've gone through the Clippers, the Spurs, the Clippers, the Kings, and now it will finish with the Spurs before they start to move back home. I don't know. Do they go 0 for 4 on the West Coast at this particular swing? Or it remains to be seen. Of course, doing a little update for the rankings, not the rankings, where everyone stands. As we mentioned before, the Celtics currently 3.5 games above the number 2 team. I stand corrected, which is the 76ers, not the Bucks. 2.5 games, 3.5 games above the Bucks at the number 1 seed. The Sixers are currently at the 2 seed. The Bucks at the 3, 4 games out of the first place. The Brooklyn Nets come in at number 4. The Cleveland Cavaliers at number 5, and at number 6, the Miami Heat for the top 6 teams. Of course, when you look at the potential teams for the play-in tournament at the end of the year, and that number 7 seed, it belongs to the New York Knicks. At 8, the Atlanta Hawks. At 9, the Pacers, and still holding on to the 10th spot, the Chicago Bulls. Currently 12 games out of first, but just 4 games out of the 6th spot. On the Western Conference side, the Nuggets hold firmly to the number 1 seed, with the Grizzlies just 2.5 games back at the 2 spot. The Sacramento Kings slowly but surely creeping up at the number 3 spot. The Pelicans at number 4. The Clippers move back up just 1 ahead, as they are the 5th seed currently. The Mavericks at the 6th seed holding firmly. But the Suns are tied with them. And they are basically between the Mavericks and the Suns 9.5 games out of first place out of the first place slot. At the 7th seed, of course, that puts Phoenix at the 7th seed. At 8 comes the Jazz. At number 9, the Timberwolves. And number 10, the Warriors, who are 10.5 games out of the first place spot, but only 1 game out of the 6th seed. Of course, to note the Lakers 12 games out of the first spot, and 2.5 games out of the 6th seed. But you got to crawl before you walk. They're currently 1 game out of the 10th seed. So fortunes may turn differently. They get a win tonight. Warriors take an L tonight. We could potentially put Lakers are a game and a half out. So with the win tonight and a loss from the Warriors, that could put LA in a pretty good spot to at least get into the play-in, which isn't too far from the 6th spot. So all hopes remain. Of course, a couple of losses here and there, and we can start to see a whole different type of standing as we get closer and closer to the break, for teams to go sit and get a relaxation and kind of like fall back and then get back at it. So that's our NBA for the topics for the day. Let's move a little bit to into the NFL. So it was a lot in which we could have covered the NFL yesterday, but because I was doing battle with my cohort, and it got a little off track. But of course, some things that came up yesterday as it was revealed what the starting lineup would be for the entertainment during the Super Bowl. Of course, the first 3 entertainers being the national anthem, the songs "Lift Every Voice and Sing," as well as America the Beautiful, are going to be sung and performed by, of course, first and foremost, national anthem will be sung by acclaimed musician, songwriter, 8-time Grammy-winning, 15-time Country Music Association, and 10-time Academy of Country Music Award winner Chris Stapleton will be singing the national anthem to start all festivities. 12-time Grammy winner, recording artist, songwriter, producer, Babyface will sing "America the Beautiful," and of course, last but not least, Emmy Award-winning actress, NCAA Image Award nominee, Independent Spirit Award winner, Sarah Lee Ralph will be singing "Lift Every Voice and Sing" for the festivities. So them three up in full living color. As we know, Rihanna is due to perform a halftime show. So it's going to be a whole vibe, of course, and not to be outdone. Of course, the National Association of Deaf will have renowned actor and Arizona native Troy Kotzer to perform our national anthem in sign language. Additionally, Colin Denny, a Native American, will sign "America the Beautiful," and Justin Miles will sign "Lift Every Voice to Sing" to provide all the ASL individuals opportunity to partake in those festivities. So it's like I said, a whole vibe going on. It should be a great event in for to start off the festivities that Sunday evening for the Super Bowl. We have finalists revealed as well for the honors, the finalists. You know what? I won't say that. I got to let me make sure I got time so I can make sure I get to my appointment. Okay, I'm good. I got about 30 minutes. So I'll say that. I'll come back to that. What we did get a chance to talk about yesterday, Bill Belichick has elected to bring in a new offensive coordinator. As we know, he afforded the opportunity for the offensive play calling to be split between two people on his staff. Evidently, honestly, it probably didn't go right. So he brings in reinforcement, hiring Bill O'Brien, former head coach Bill O'Brien, to command the offense for the Patriots. Of course, Bill O'Brien has been an offensive coordinator and a quarterback coach at Alabama since 2021, since he lost his job in the NFL. He has coached with Bill Belichick before, spending time during the 2007, 2011 time frame as an assistant, different positions to coach, quarterback, and then OC at some point. So he did go. He worked at Penn State, then took on a job with the Houston Texans, and then upon getting fired, he went and worked out with Coach Saban in Alabama. Now, currently up and going to work with the New England Patriots during for the time being. So maybe that helps out Mac Jones a little bit. It gets someone with a little experience at the position. What's good, Anthony Price? Good morning, brother. Glad to see you information this morning. So maybe that helps out Mac Jones. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to catch one Patriots place yesterday to hear or talk about and to see what their take was on Bill O'Brien coming back into the fold. But now he's there. Maybe it helps to improve the offense if anything was needed. Of course, other news. I'm not gonna go there. What would one consider to be X factors in this weekend's upcoming AFC and NFC championship games. What is do you think is going to play a major role in teams getting their wins for the most part? I'll pause for a second to let that question sink in to figure out what is it that you think is going to be the most cumbersome, or what's going to be the situation that's going to basically drive defenses. Anthony Price said defense, X factor. For which team, Anthony, do you say? Or which teams? Or the lack thereof. So you have Anthony says defense. Um, in which, honestly enough, interesting enough, that has been considered. Um, so a couple of X factors for me, I think, is one. Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna say X factor. I'll be lying if I said that. I was about to say is one for me is home field advantage. Does home field advantage makes a difference? Chiefs defense needs to step up. 49ers offense need to get open. Uh, I feel that they're holding fast with the offense, Anthony. Uh, they're going to have to open it a little because, of course, you're playing against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm very sure they're not going to hold back. So San Francisco might need to open up a little, but not too much, just enough to get the job done. Of course, you don't want to show a lot. You don't want to show a hand where someone like you have great minds that are left in the left uh, for competition. Playing against Andy Reid still. But heck, he's the most, I guess, the most fearsome of the four in which you talk about it. And then, of course, Shanahan. I think it would be Reed, Shanahan. Not to take anything from Sirianni or Taylor, but basically that's what you're left with. When you couple it with the players in which they have and which they play with, it starts to make a difference. So I definitely believe that it's maybe one of those things. Yes, it has to open up a bit for that. Additionally, uh, wait, hold up, let me go back. So yeah, so I can see defense as being being a situation, um, which is an X factor in this situation, of course. Um, Home field advantage maybe might be an X factor. Um, so all those things could lay expected. Another question, and we'll go with the fact or fiction. Is it fact or fiction that the Dallas Cowboys, it's time to move on from Dak Prescott? Have we seen Dak Prescott's ceiling? Is he able to be a Super Bowl quarterback? Can he get them to even pass the first round? So what is it? Is Dak just needs some more grooming, or has he already hit his ceiling and now it's time for the Dallas Cowboys to move on? He has so much promise initially. Has he hit his ceiling already? Is it time to move on? Additionally, in that same question, is it time for Dallas to move on in the coach already? McCarthy's been there 2 years. McCarthy has been there a total of 2 years, 3 years. I'm sorry, 3 years. In 3 years, they have been to the Super Bowl. I mean, they have been to the playoffs twice. Of course, they had the down season of his first year there because Dak Prescott got injured and he didn't have Dak. But in the last 2 years, they've amassed. They had a NFC East championship. They were on the cusp of an NFC East championship yet again this year. Didn't happen. And then they was ousted the first round yet again. Correction. Yes, they was ousted in the second round. I'm sorry, second round this year. Um, So is it time for them to move on from Coach McCarthy as well? Um, Another question. And I asked this yesterday to Bishop, and he responded with the emphatic yes. Are the Jacksonville Jaguars the real deal? Can we expect them to come back even stronger and better next year? In my opinion, I don't know. I don't think so. At this point, I'm a 50%. We know they are expected to have wide receiver Calvin Ridley, as he was out 2 years for the most part, 2.5 years. But one because of an injury the year before when he was due to come back this year. He ended up getting a suspension due to gambling on NFL teams, which is a no-go for NFL players. Ooh, that's a good question, Anthony. Uh I believe in Detroit, man. I believe in Detroit. I think I believe in Detroit more so than I believe in the Jaguars. And I was just in that case, we was just talking about how they're going to have Christian Kirk next year, a rested Calvin Ridley, so we can see how potent Calvin Ridley is from Atlanta. So my initial assessment would be I would put my money on the grit and the grind out from Detroit, as opposed to going with the Jaguars. So that's where I would be. My mindset would be. I think it would be the Detroit Lions to answer your question. And as far as the Jaguars being packed, I just don't know yet. They have. It's always expectations that's met, and we look at it. We start out and be like, okay, it looks good on paper. Think a la the Las Vegas Raiders. We see what happened with them. Of course, we know there was a debacle with Los Angeles Rams, so that led to a whole different type of season that opened the door for the San Francisco 49ers for the most part. Uh, we thought differently and better from Miami, but of course, we see what happened with that, mainly probably because of the injury to Tua. So we don't know how everything is going to go, how things are going to turn out. But I don't know about saying the Jaguars are back. It seems like they would have the personnel, but I'm not ready to just completely say, yeah, they're good. It looks like it. I will go with Detroit though, however, before I go with the Jaguars. Um, I believe the 49ers will be the best defense come this weekend. But will they? Will the 49ers be the best defense this weekend as they get ready to face off against the Philadelphia Eagles? Can you consider a team to be a better defense even in a losing effort? Can we say the 49ers had the best defense on Sunday even if they lose? Is it just a game at a time? Is it a body of work? Like what is it? What basically solidified that? In my opinion, San Francisco's going to have a great defense. Now, what I do believe also additionally is that the defense can look different based on how Purdy performs. So if they make Purdy look suspect, then Philadelphia might be look at like they have a better defense. What they're going against a rookie that hasn't really had an opportunity or time to like really get. I mean, he's played 7 games. He didn't play a Philadelphia type defense. I will be honest in saying. So it depends. In which we hopefully can. I think it's not just on one person though. Anthony, definitely a concerted effort. Hopefully, it'll be a thing that like is like Lions and a pride, to where one person flushes and the other person finishes. Which we have, of course, we can have that 1-2 parts. Eric Solomon and Joe Bosa. I mean, maybe cause problems to where there's a lot of running, having Jalen Hurts running when he's stepping back to pass, where we can eliminate the passing game, um, or make them have to jump it off. And then, of course, if he gets loose and try to get out the pockets, you have Shazier, Greenlaw, Warner, and company that are waiting for him, and then of course Hafunga and other players. So I think they're going to have a pretty good game plan. So I feel pretty confident in our defense. It's just making sure we don't do bonehead things. Lenore gambling, Ward gambling. We got to be precise to at least give us an opportunity to get back into the Super Bowl. What else have we? Has the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl window closed? I don't think it has closed yet. I think they're going to go back and retool. It's obvious a lot of teams need a run game. Run games are do magnificent things for people who have quarterbacks, good quarterbacks. Additionally, they might need to add another piece to their wide receiving core. They went back and got Cole Beasley, brought him back in. I think they need to match somebody. It doesn't have to be a great player. It just needs to be someone that is a bit better than Gabriel Davis to match with Stephon Diggs to kind of like, saying with the Davis and Diggs and another player to bring in might work out. Of course, we got to take in consideration what the Bills had looked like had they had still had Von Miller and his defensive prowess still roaming on the gridiron in the fields in the trenches. I'm very sure that made a difference. Losing him in that Detroit game kind of like set a tone to where they started falling off. So I wouldn't say necessarily that they he hasn't showed up in playoffs since his blowout last year, not blowout, his kicking the door waving the fofo scene in last year's playoffs. So, but it's different. Like people check for you now. When you sit up and do stuff like that, people check for you. So at that point, it's show and prove. Even you are who you was when you came onto the scene, or it was a false representation, and they exploit that. So right now, it looks like it was a false representation of Davis, that he may not have been that dude. He's serviceable, but he's not the dude to really. He's like Clay Claypool at this point. You serviceable, but you might not be that dude. Or excuse me, or it could just be the team that you with, because we had the same thing with Juju Smith-Schuster. Like he came on, and he was the man when you had Anthony Brown on the opposite side. But once Anthony Brown leaves and it's just you and Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson, it was a little bit harder. Things got a little harder. So it could be that same type of prospect with Gabriel Davis, where he might need to go somewhere else. He needs to where he can be a little bit more effective. Who else? What else we have? Do you think both whole teams are set to win the championship? I'm set to win this weekend. That would mean that Kansas City and Philadelphia are scheduled to be in the Super Bowl come February the 12th. Do we see a situation where both teams win? I would like to say no. Of course, on my end of the East, on the East, on the West, in the NFC, I don't foresee it being that cut and dry. But of course, I could be a bit biased in this situation. So it remains to be seen. Will it be a San Francisco and Cincinnati Super Bowl? Can it be a San Francisco and Kansas City rematch in the Super Bowl? Would it be an Eagles and a Kansas City rematch or Eagles and Cincinnati? We would know all those questions after. Well, we know half of it after by 4:00 on Sunday. I can get it. I understand, Anthony. You think no matter who comes out of the West, it's going to still be San Francisco. It's going to be the AFC that's going to come out. No matter who comes out on either side, AFC is the winner. Stranger things that happen. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So I won't knock it. It's possible. It's always possible. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Other questions? Any other questions? Oh, as I'm getting blown up. Jaguars. Yeah, so just a few things in which to take a look at. Obviously, to have an understanding of um, shifting a little bit, in which I don't think I'm gonna get to everything today, which is cool. We got Thursday, got Friday, and then of course come back again on Monday after the Super Bowl participants has been solidified. So of course now currently, if you was to look at it, there has been 27 slots locked down. I guess it depends on who the team, Anthony. I wouldn't think it was too far off. That's not too surprising to me, but it just comes out on about the team. C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young. It depends on the team. They might dissent. I don't think the Heisman just guarantees you an opportunity to be drafted ahead of others. I think it gives you a stepping stone, but I don't think it's a guarantee for the most part. When you look at it, like I said, 2017 is ready to go. First of 2017s, the Chicago Bears, they'll need a quarterback. So they're not going to go after a quarterback most likely. Next up, of course, the Houston Texans, who is at a 2 spot. They are in need of a quarterback for the most part. So maybe a C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young situation can be prevalent there. Next up, the Arizona Cardinals at the 3 slot. I'm very sure they're not going after a quarterback unless they plan on moving on from Kyler Murray and trading him for some assets. At the 4th spot, you have the Indianapolis Colts. They may be in need of a quarterback. So maybe you have a C.J. Stroud situation there. Number 3, the Seattle Seahawks. They may be content with what they have right now, or just looking at getting a quarterback later in the year. I mean, in the season, in the draft, potentially. At number 6, the Detroit Lions. They're good. And number 7, the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm very sure they're going to try to build on their quarterback situation in the free agency. At number 8, the Atlanta Falcons. They drafted Desmond Ritter last year, but of course, free agency is prevalent. At number 9, the Carolina Panthers. They may move on from Sam Darnold. At number 10, the Philadelphia Eagles through New Orleans, in which I'm very sure they're not getting a quarterback or go after a quarterback. So it remains to see how they do. They probably build on defense and makes defense just their identity. At number 11, the Tennessee Titans. At 12, the Houston Texans are back in there. So they can double dip, maybe a quarterback early and then another player of skill later, or vice versa. Because there's not many teams that are going to be looking to grab any quarterbacks, but they can probably put in perspective their player of the future later on. I think that's what I would do. I think I would pick a quarterback with the 12th pick as opposed to the first one, since it's such a rich, it's so rich in quarterbacks this year, supposedly. At number 13, the New York Jets. 14, the New England Patriots. At 15, the Green Bay Packers. 16, the Washington Commanders. At 17, the Pittsburgh Steelers. 18, the Detroit Lions are back on the clock. Number 19, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 20, the Seattle Seahawks gets another opportunity. 21, the Los Angeles Chargers. At 22, at 22, the Baltimore Ravens. Interesting picks, I'm very sure. At number 23, Cam Smith. At 24, the Jacksonville Jaguars. 25, the New York Giants. 26, the Dallas Cowboys. And lastly, at number 27, the Buffalo Bills. I think what Bryce Young 6'3" maybe. So at 27, the Buffalo Bills, which is guaranteed, 4 teams. Correction. Still 4 teams left to make a determination. I'm sorry, it would have been 3. Atlanta doesn't get a. I thought Atlanta doesn't get a pick. Atlanta lost one of his picks, or something like that for the year due to infraction. So 4 teams remaining, of course, being the Cincinnati Bengals. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Cincinnati Bengals, the San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, we know this year the San Francisco 49ers do not get a first-round pick because they traded their first-round pick away to Miami Dolphins to move up, in which they drafted Trey Lance. The Miami Dolphins end up trading that pick away to Denver later on. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. So that is one of the things that happened. So San Francisco. So for the most part, Denver will get a late pick for the most part, bottom of the barrel for the first round, uh, or to exact that second pick. So uh, that's the expectation. Of course, knew that going in. Maybe no one expected the San Francisco to be this good this fast. So that remains to be seen. Of course, as we get closer and closer to the end of the year, and then formalized, we'll start looking at who is expected, what is expected. Just as Anthony Price was talking about Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, of course, the other quarterbacks out there um, with like Anthony Richardson from Florida. You got Dorian Thompson from UCLA, Levi from Kentucky, Max Dugan. So it's some players that are out there potentially that's not being talked about or probably seen as later rounds. So of course we'll start to get into that later on going into the season. This weekend, the Ravens claimed the ex-Cowboy Trayvon Mullen for who happens to be Lamar Jackson's cousin. Maybe that's something to lead towards they're going to or not going to be have Lamar um, in Baltimore. It remains to be seen. What we can expect is most likely that he's going to be franchise tagged if he doesn't sign anything, which is going to basically understand the franchise tag doesn't mean anything necessarily. Like he can play on it, or he can basically sign it, so that way they can go forth and make some moves and kind of like take him off the market and then double back with the expectation of they're going to pay him an expeditious amount of money because the top 3 quarterbacks salaries get averaged out, and that determines how much they would pay him for that 1 year in which he plays on that 1 year potentially, and then he comes back and throughout during the season go ahead and makes read and figures out the contract and gets a better long-term contract by the end of the year. So it can work on the behalf of both the player or the organization as long as everyone's on the up and up and understands like, okay, this is where it is. Of course, what tends to be a problem is if you got a stalemate, no one's interested in really moving forth in negotiations. He's already signed the franchise tag, so he's playing on it. Yes, he's making X amount of dollars to where he might be working $40 to $50 million for the year, but it's only 1 year. Of course, if he has a down year or he goes and gets injured, then that becomes a situation all in itself to where it kind of like hurt him even getting a additional or a long term contract with other teams, let alone the team was with. So, of course, more to be seen. I very seriously doubt that hiring his cousin is a is a process, which is going to be like, yeah, we got your cousin. Come on back. What else do we have before I get ready to get out of here? I guess we can stop there. So, like I said, today a short day. Unfortunately, got to get to an appointment this morning. But of course, y'all be able to catch me tomorrow, as well as most likely Bishop Thursday, 09 1100 hours, as we get into a little more in depth into this conversation about who is going to win this weekend. You already know what it is on both of our behalves. Bishop is Eagles, I'm 49ers. But what about the other side of the spectrum? What about the AFC? Who else is we looking? Who else are we looking at pulling out in the AFC? Basically, who are our prospective teams looking forward to seeing as they vie for a championship? San Francisco's on the quest for 6, trying to get this 6th one. I wish we'd have got it some time ago to where right now we'll be sitting at 7, looking for our 8th. But it didn't work out that way. Now we're sitting. We've been 7 times, and this is our 8th. Hopefully, we want to make it our 8th time. Looking for our 6th, or even last year potentially. Could have been our. We could have got there last year, but it was some misfortune. But in any case, I digress. Been there. We've been there before. We know how it goes. Philadelphia's been there before. They know how it goes. Now, when we both meet up, we'll see how it goes. Until tomorrow morning, I'll holler at y'all. Y'all enjoy your week and your day. And holla. 1.